We are coming down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena only has 5 appearances remaining. Oh boy, Steve, this went by way too quickly. I'm not ready. I'm not ready at all. But I am ready to give you my fantasy booking of what the final 5 appearances will look like. Are you ready to give me what the final 5 appearances might look like in your head?
I can't wait for this to be over, to be fair. It's not against John Cena. It just
I wish I
feels
was
like
in my spinny chair so I could turn around right now. I don't know what to do.
it just feels that we have been on a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to this John Cena final run. And I know we recorded a video earlier that I was approving of getting everything that we needed and some surprises. But I feel the one thing about the John Cena retirement tour is it has taken so much time and space away from other storyline builds and things that could have been done over the year of 2025 to build, up and coming talent, all that kind of stuff. And it's no disrespect to Cena, because Cena arguably does deserve the retirement tour that we have gotten, and actually more. But I just feel at this point, I just can't wait for it to be over. But this video is to talk about what could happen in the next 5 appearances for John Cena. We just got the announcement that at Crown Jewel, it is going to be John Cena versus AJ Styles. I think a dream match for everybody watching this. Let me know in the comments. Yeah. But I think this is a dream match through and through. I'm excited for it, but it's also the Perth event, 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern, freaking 2 o'clock in the morning for you over on the West Coast. But really, like, John Cena, AJ Styles, I'm going to say John Cena comes out with the W, AJ Styles puts on a banger. But what happens next? What happens next, Jack?
John Cena and AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. Is it October 4th or October 11th? It's besides the point. But it's going to be a 5-star classic in Perth, Australia. We're gonna get to relive the greatest hits of what we saw in 2016. Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. 3 phenomenal, no pun intended, is just the perfect word to describe their rivalry. It was phenomenal. We're going to get to see all of the same thing, because John Cena and AJ Styles are still very capable of putting on a 5-star classic. And given that, as of today, we now know AJ Styles will also be retired within the next 12 months, if not sooner, that this is truly the final time we will ever see 2 Hall of Famers, 2 of the greatest sports entertainers. And I don't mean that in like a cliche way. AJ Styles is one of the greatest technical wrestlers who has ever walked the face of the earth. John Cena, I would argue, is one of the greatest sports entertainers to ever enter a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
And they have chemistry more or less better than any other 2 wrestlers I think I've ever seen in my lifetime of watching wrestling. Like, you can argue John Cena, CM Punk. You can argue John Cena and Randy Orton, John Cena and Edge, John Cena and Kevin Owens had a great feud and great chemistry in the ring. John Cena and AJ Styles, I put it up there with like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, what they were able to do. They just moved. They couldn't put on a bad match.
See, and the way I looked at it was like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Like,
correct.
On the AJ Styles side of things, like, they have just that very unique blend to professional wrestling. Right. And all due respect to both of them, they come from 2 different worlds. Yeah. At the end of the day, I said this in a previous video that we recorded. AJ Styles to me is not a WWE guy. He is a indie guy turned WWE guy.
He is the one true guy that made himself on the indies and still had a Hall of Fame career within WWE as well.
Yes. And I think he's the sole one. Maybe you can give Kevin Owens a shout now, considering he might not come back. But, like, the significant one is AJ Styles. And the fact that he's been with the top dog, John Cena, in 2016 gives him that staple to say, you know what? You deserve to face me, or I deserve to face you in one of your final 5 matches. And
I mean, I don't think it was more so him being like, AJ's one of the best, I have to wrestle him. That was one of his greatest rivalries of all time. So, of course, you got to relive one of those rivalries that is going to stand the test of time. I was privileged enough to see John Cena versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam 2016 in Brooklyn. And it was probably one of, if not the greatest match I've ever witnessed live. There were moments in that match where John Cena hit the avalanche AA off the top rope. And that was back when the attitude adjustment meant something, ladies and gentlemen. That was back when nobody was kicking out of the AA. And AJ Styles, I think, had already kicked out of 2 AAs at that point. And then John Cena hit it off the top rope. And I think that was the first time someone had ever kicked out of an attitude adjustment off the top rope before. Like in that moment, I'm like, oh, they're tied 1-1. Cena's going to get the win. And then when Styles kicked out, that place erupted. Because we knew, we're like, oh my, Styles is going to win. Styles is going to win this match. And he hits the phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3 JBL on commentary while he's pinning him. AJ Styles just beat John Cena.
Yeah.
And it was a big moment because that catapulted AJ Styles to the next level. He beat Dean Ambrose at the next pay-per-view and became WWE champion for the next 6 months before he lost it to John Cena at the Royal Rumble in another great match.
Yeah.
So besides the point, you're right. These guys come from 2 different worlds, and I will argue the fact that AJ Styles is an indie guy through and throughout because he was AJ Styles, the Hall of Fame professional wrestler outside of WWE, and he came into WWE AJ Styles. Kevin Steen had to become Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn.
And go through NXT.
What was Sami Zayn's name on the indie circuit?
El Generico.
El Generico. And now he's Sami Zayn. He's the underdog from the underground, right? Where AJ Styles was AJ Styles. So AJ Styles versus John Cena, that is a lock, and I'm so glad that John Cena went to X of all places to confirm this match and say, I think this is what the fans want to see. Let's give it to him. I don't have any dates left to build a story. Let's take it to social media. So that was kind of cool.
So you said to me that is October 11th. His next appearance after October 11th is November 3rd in Boston, correct?
November 10th in Boston.
November 10th in Boston. So
which is crazy because that's a month.
That's 1 month.
1 month
Perth.
without John Cena.
So here's my question. Two questions. Do we get vignettes between that month of a build, or do we get his next opponent basically calling him every name in the book and carrying this next match for November 3rd for that entire month? Like a likes of maybe Sheamus, Dominic Mysterio, I'm going to say it, Rusev, I'm going to say Drew McIntyre. Like, are we going to get some of these guys saying, you know what, John Cena, I'll see you on your next appearance and I'm going to kick your ass?
I think we could potentially see that from the time he faces Styles in Perth on October 11th to the time he faces whoever he faces on November 10th in Boston. Because that will be a big farewell match in his hometown. Because I think almost everybody assumed heading into this retirement tour that the final match would be in Boston, Massachusetts, given that it was his hometown. It's kind of a swerve and a weird thing that it's going to be in Washington, D.C. of all places. So I think in a 4-week span of him not being on television, I think we're also going to see it via X or via... I mean, he doesn't really utilize Instagram in a way that most people utilize Instagram.
He used to, and he stopped. It was crazy.
So I think between those 2 dates, we could see something like that where they play vignettes and they have videos. I don't think between Raw in Boston and Raw in New York that there's a story built. And then, of course, that's a 2-week stretch between Raw in New York and Survivor Series. So I also don't think we'll see... here's how I would book it. All right. If we're giving our fantasy bookings, this is how I book Crown Jewel. Just a 5-star classic between 2 legends, 2 baby faces. We're just there to see a great professional wrestling match between 2 of the greatest ever. Between Crown Jewel and Raw in Boston, Massachusetts, I'm going to go ahead and say that we are going to get John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship in Raw in Boston. I don't know if there's like a story to be told over a 4-week period for Dominic Mysterio to carry the story or not.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe John Cena goes to X and says, "Hey, I've never competed for the Intercontinental Championship. What do you think about this, Paul Levesque?" And Paul's like, "Are you ready, Dominic?" And then we get Cena versus Mysterio, and Dom carries it for 4 weeks because Cena is going to be insanely over in no matter what town that he goes to. We've seen it for the last 9 months. He's going to be so over in Boston that night at the TD Garden. It is going to be a great wrestling crowd. And Dirty Dom gets booed out of every building that he's in, even though fans, kind of adore him at this point. To have a completely over babyface versus a completely over heel in a match where John Cena is challenging for the one title that he's never challenged for in his entire career. He's never won it either. That would make him a Grand Slam champion.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio, in my opinion, should happen on Raw in Boston, given the different elements that match could have. Now, how you book that match, of course, everybody would love to see John Cena win the Intercontinental Championship. It's kind of a weird want. I don't think it's like an overall want that Paul Levesque is like, we gotta book this.
I don't think we need to do it personally.
I don't think we need to do it, but like it would be cool. I personally don't think John Cena wins the match. I think Dominic Mysterio gets a life-changing win over John Cena because someone's going to interfere not on behalf of Dominic Mysterio. I think either the Vision could get involved and there could be a story told backstage before the match to where he pisses off Braun Breaker in a backstage segment or something. Or Brock Lesnar returns in Boston and F5s John Cena 6 times again. And then we find out that both John Cena and Brock Lesnar are competing in War Games. So that'll take you to the following week, Raw in New York City. And whenever Raw's at Madison Square Garden, they book a pretty big show. We've seen great SmackDowns at MSG. We've seen great Raws at MSG. So we get John Cena versus Dom. We get to see him compete for the IC title with the tease that he could become a Grand Slam champion. Doesn't, because again, either Lesnar takes him out, the Vision takes him out. That leads to the following Monday night on Raw. John Cena is in the War Games match. In my opinion, Brock Lesnar is going to be in the War Games match. That way you can kind of tell the story of John Cena kind of getting his lick back on Brock Lesnar. He might not beat him, but at least he can kind of get some sort of a revenge to have some sort of clarity in that whole squash match that we saw last weekend. So I'm going to go out and say that we're going to see another great classic John Cena rivalry match on Raw in Madison Square Garden. We are going to see 2 War Games opponents face off one-on-one. We're going to see John Cena in the main event at Madison Square Garden face off against the World Heavyweight Champion Seth frickin' Rollins. And
we're going to I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to run it back to the week before quickly because I don't see how that plays out. I like the Seth Rollins thing. I really do, because I think that's going to put Seth's ego in check with the Vision. I really do, and I think that's actually going to put some cracks in the Vision, depending on what's going on with the Jey Uso thing, because I think Jey Uso has a major play in the whole Vision scenario right now. Okay, let me run this back to Dominic Mysterio for a second. Who is arguably one of John Cena's biggest rivals that we cannot ever have a final match with?
Kevin Owens.
Eddie Guerrero.
Well, yeah.
Hold on.
I see where you're going with this. Dom, I mean, he makes references to Eddie being his real dad every now and then. I don't think there's like I mean, I'll let you explain actually before I say anything.
But my point being is, could we get Dominic Mysterio going full Eddie Guerrero heel? And that's how he gets off with winning the match against John Cena. How Eddie did so many times to John Cena back in their early days in the early 2000s. Dominic pulls out all the stops. The zipped up boot, the chair, the ref bump, all of that things. On that show, we could actually see a complete throwback. Yes, the IC title's on the line. Dominic Mysterio walks out with the IC title, but it is a true John Cena tribute to Dominic Mysterio. Hell, I think arguably one of the greatest callbacks that they could do is the Eddie Guerrero, John Cena parking lot brawl where they had the cars circled together. You know what, Dom? You want to pay tribute to Eddie? This is how you do it. Against one of his greatest rivals in John Cena in almost a completely mimicked match. A lot of people have never seen that parking lot brawl, but it is one of the best matches between John Cena and Eddie Guerrero. That's how you allow Dom to get away with the victory, but John able to kind of close a chapter that he's never been able to close because unfortunately Eddie Guerrero passed away so soon. Imagine the parking lot brawl. The Vision gets involved. Braun Breaker puts Cena onto the hood of a car. Then the tsunami from Bronson Reed, and then the stomp from Seth Rollins. That then brings us to Madison Square Gardens and John Cena versus Seth Rollins. You cost me my last attempt at the IC title. And, you know, that's how you play into that. Boom. So that's where I want to go.
The only thing I don't like about that is that I don't see them giving John Cena a gimmick match in his final match in Boston. Like, I feel like it's going to be in the crowd. Like, he's going to have to be in front of the crowd.
Start in front of the crowd.
Like a promo?
It could start in front of the crowd like a promo. Yeah. But Eddie Guerrero, sorry, I'm just looking this up. Eddie Guerrero, John Cena.
I do love the idea that he tributes Eddie Guerrero in a way through Dominic Mysterio. That would be really cool.
Oh, I think that would be one of the best tributes. I'm an Eddie Guerrero guy, but I think that would be one of the best tributes that you could do is revisit one of the best matches that those two had. Like, everything that stands out to me about Eddie and John falls into that parking lot brawl. So it could be a really good shout. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the location of where it was. Okay, so I thought it might have been in Boston. It was in Birmingham, Alabama. Oops. I just, you know how WWE likes to do things, you know what I mean? They always say, like, let's revisit what we've done once 20 years later, you know what I mean? Oh, it was 20 years.
I definitely could see them paying tribute to Eddie Guerrero. I feel like if they did do that, I don't know if it'd be in a match, but maybe they have a backstage segment where like Dominic has like the cars all set up, like him, Balor, Roxanne's, like all of their like the Judgment Day's cars are surrounding. And like you have a moment where it's like, oh, that's a callback to the backstage brawl that they had. Because I feel like he's got to have a match in the ring in the TD Garden, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, but I just think a good callback to that feud would be nice, and through Dominic Mysterio, and it shows the trust that they have in Dominic Mysterio through something that big.
Oh, because that would be a big win for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think regardless of how that match is booked, and if that match itself is booked, that the Vision or someone on the Vision's team at War Games is getting involved to cost Cena. Because that's how you book Cena to War Games.
Yes, agreed.
And then the following week, I think Madison Square Garden, you need that true marquee match at Madison Square Garden, and that's Cena versus Rollins.
With a Roman return?
Potentially. And then that announces Roman in War Games too. That's how you build the Avengers to take on what's going to be a colossal battle, in my opinion, with Rollins, Breaker, and Reed, no doubt.
Yeah.
And potentially a Lesnar and potentially a McIntyre. Like, that is an unbeatable team.
It'll be the greatest War Games match since the first War Games in WCW.
Because at that point, who beats that team? Well, our Avengers. John Cena, the greatest of all time. Our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. How are they going to get along? Our champion, Cody Rhodes. How are those three going to get along? The best in the world, CM Punk. How are those four going to get along? And then you throw in whoever you want. LA Knight, Jey Uso, Randy Orton. Anybody you want.
I think Jey Uso is the catalyst in that match. You put, you know, those 5 that you just named as the heels, and then you throw LA Knight in as the 5th in the Avengers, we'll call it. Or we have that special return of who's going to be the 5th man, and that music hits, and that person costs the Avengers that match at Survivor Series, and John Cena's final match is decided by in the middle of the ring, and the final match is in Washington D.C.
So let's tell it like it is. All right. We got John Cena versus AJ Styles. I'm booking John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the IC title, whether it's in a backstage brawl or whether it's in the ring.
I'll accept it.
I think we're gonna get through that. We're gonna get John Cena versus Seth Rollins in the main event in Raw and MSG. I don't know how that's probably gonna end in DQ somehow. They're gonna have a good in-ring wrestling match.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit all their high spots. Probably gonna end with all teams coming together and revealing whoever else they haven't had on the team. And maybe you're right. Maybe heading into Survivor Series, Roman Reigns returns at Madison Square Garden. I'm the 4th man on this team. So you have Cena, you have Rhodes, you have Roman, you have Punk. But they still need a 5th guy.
Yep.
They don't know. We don't know who they're going to pick. CM Punk has no friends. Everybody hates him. Roman Reigns burnt every bridge that he had to the ground with the bloodline. Cody Rhodes could make some calls. I have an old friend that could help us out. And John Cena's like, wait, I got some friends as well.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a scenario like 2 years ago where it's like that countdown happens. There's nobody in the cage and we're waiting for someone's music to hit and we have no idea. And there could be a moment where, I don't know, maybe they tease us with someone that's underwhelming. Maybe there's a moment where
Sammy. Sorry.
Well, I feel like if Sammy came out, that would be disappointing, but like it would still be big enough for them to justify, oh, he's really in the match. Like R-Truth could come down to the ring wearing his Ron Cena uniform, and then Brock Lesnar just F5s him onto the concrete, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he wasn't the real one, and then you just hear, "You think you know me?" And Edge, at that point, it would have been over 2 months of speculation that he could be returning for John Cena's final match. Edge's music hits in San Diego at Petco Park with me and you screaming like little girls, like the Jonah Hill gif of him just screaming his head off. And we get Edge in the. What if he comes out in like one of those like leather jackets, the winter beanie that he always used to come out with as a heel? He just looks like old Edge. Gets into the ring, spears John Cena, and then walks right out.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
And that's how you and maybe that's not how the match ends. Maybe that's just a moment where Edge is back, but he wasn't supposed to be on the team. And then maybe because to me, I feel like, does the Vision need to win that match?
No.
Maybe.
No.
I guess you could really book it either way, but I think
I'm looking at this as it's going to be a spot. It's going to be a spot in that match where, say, McIntyre is doing something and Bronson Reed goes to take someone out and they collide against the fence and the fence opens and everyone's laid out. And you've got one of the referees just being like, very SummerSlam when Roman returned in Cleveland. Everyone's laid out and you hear, "You think you know me?" Yo, the San Andreas fault will go off. I'm just saying right now. I'm not trying to be dramatic. But the San Andreas fault will be shook if that music hits in that type of scenario. Edge walks out or runs out, thinks he's going to save Cena or whatever, spears the hell out of Cena. I'll see you in Washington. There you go. And that's how you book it. And granted, we are not analysts. We just love booking pro wrestling content. We love talking pro wrestling. But that's how you book it. That's how you book the final match with Edge's return at Survivor Series, because we know what the reaction in Chicago was for Punk's return. Something it will never happen The last two videos that you and I have recorded, Jack, we've talked about something that would never happen. Yeah, well, guess what? Like you said, never say never. Edge's music hitting in at Survivor Series. Let's go.
Yeah, and it would lead to a final match between two guys where after the match, you don't have to further any story. That story writes itself. John Cena versus Edge in a way, and you tell it in the way that it was told back in 2006. Edge the heel, Cena the babyface, going at it one final time. I truly think that is the best possible scenario for his final match.
Yeah.
Like I've told you before, I'm managing my expectations because that is something from a contractual standpoint that we truly have no idea if that can be pulled off or not. So the other alternative to that is that they compete in war games. Cena gets his lick on Lesnar. Team Cena miraculously beats the Visions team.
Yep.
And then there's another story told in that match that sets up John Cena's final match. Maybe it's with a Drew McIntyre. Not a lot of people are going to love this take, but maybe it's a Brock Lesnar. And he finally defeats Lesnar in his final match. Like, that could be something that they could book. They've disappointed us like that before. It could be a setup with Braun Breaker. You know?
See, I think the Breaker Lesnar thing is more of a realistic thing going through to 42. And I don't see that playing out that direction. It could, but it just doesn't. Involving Cena in that feud for some reason it just doesn't fit for me. I think Cena
he doesn't have to fit in it. It's John Cena's final match, you know?
True.
And you give a massive rub to a guy that you consider one of your future WrestleMania multi-main eventers in Braun Breaker, you know?
Fair. But overall, I think we have just gone through the multiverse of madness, I think, when it comes to the last final matches of John Cena's career. Guys, let us know in the comments. Are we way off? Is it going to be much simpler than this? Has Jack lost his mind? Have I lost my mind? But at the end of the day, we are pro wrestling fans every morning, every night, and we love talking about this. So please let us know in the comments what you think the last 5 matches for John Cena is going to be, and is Edge even a possibility? Jack, see you tomorrow.
Yep.